Coronation Street viewers will see Sarah Platt's world come crashing down next week as the police finally make a major breakthrough in Theo Silverton's murder investigation. The new evidence leaves officers with no choice but to arrest Sarah, bringing her secret to the surface. Although Kit has done everything he can to shield Sarah from suspicion, the latest evidence proves impossible to ignore. She is taken into police custody and questioned by DS Connor Swain as the investigation reaches a dramatic turning point. Fearing the worst, Sarah becomes convinced she could spend the rest of her life behind bars. Even Kit is unable to find a way to protect her anymore, leaving Sarah to face the terrifying reality of what could happen next. As the pressure grows and prison becomes a real possibility, attention also begins to shift toward Gary Windus. Sarah is left horrified when police officers arrive and arrest her in front of the entire Platt family. Deep down, she always feared this day would come because she never truly believed she could escape the consequences forever. Even so, being led away in handcuffs and taken in for questioning leaves her completely overwhelmed with fear. Before Sarah's arrest, Kit continues hoping that Gary will become the main suspect. He believes investigators already have enough evidence to connect Gary to Theo's death, which would take the spotlight away from Sarah. However, Kit's attempts to gather information from his colleague McLaughlin get him nowhere. He eventually warns Sarah that if forensic experts examine the outfit she wore to the wedding, her chances of avoiding prosecution will disappear. Soon afterward, Lisa confronts Kit about his determination to protect the woman he loves. Lisa has become convinced that Sarah is responsible for the killing, but she also understands why Kit is desperate to stop her from going to prison. Despite the tension between them, Lisa gives Kit some honest advice, urging him to stop risking his own future by covering for Sarah and instead focus on protecting his career. While Sarah repeatedly insists she is innocent during her intense police interview, Gary finds himself facing serious questions from his wife, Maria Connor. Already worried that Gary was involved in the murder, Maria finally discovers undeniable proof that he lied about where he was that night. Maria comes across a photograph taken by Sally Metcalf on the night Theo died. The image clearly shows Gary on Coronation Street, even though he had insisted he never left the builder's yard. Realizing the false alibi she provided can easily be disproved, Maria begins fearing that she could face criminal charges herself. Maria originally defended Gary because she believed he was telling the truth. But after being deceived again and again, she refuses to risk prison for him. Determined to protect herself and their children, she is prepared to expose Gary if it gives her the best chance of avoiding prosecution. As Gary desperately pleads with Maria to stand by him, Sarah faces an agonizing choice while being held on remand in prison. In a shocking confession, Sarah finally admits to Lisa that she was responsible for Theo's death and reveals exactly what happened on that fateful night. The only question left is whether she will also tell the complete truth about Gary's involvement. Sarah's confession changes everything and marks the point of no return. Gary's future now depends entirely on the decision she makes. Both of them are trapped in the consequences of their actions, but Sarah alone holds the power to decide whether Gary keeps his freedom or loses everything. Coronation Street's Jody finally confesses to police as gun discovery leaves the Platts reeling. Jody Ramsey has finally admitted to the police that she was responsible for attacking Sarah Platt in Coronation Street. Fans will remember that on the night Theo Silverton lost his life, Jody hit Sarah over the head and left her unconscious after catching her looking through a box of personal keepsakes. It wasn't long before Sarah worked out that Jody had been the one who attacked her. More recently, Kit Green revealed the truth about Jody's actions to David and Shona Platt. During tonight's episode, Jody unexpectedly turned up at baby Harper's welcome home celebration and stunned everyone by revealing that she had confessed to the assault. She also confirmed that police had officially charged her over the attack on Sarah. However, that confession was only the beginning of the drama, as another shocking secret soon emerged. Since arriving on Coronation Street, Jody has kept a small trinket box with her, secretly filling it with belongings she had stolen from people living nearby. While searching for her missing games console, Lily Platt discovered the hidden box tucked underneath the sofa. When she opened it, she was horrified to find a handgun concealed inside. The firearm had originally been abandoned by Carl Webster following his tense confrontation with Kevin Webster at the garage. Jody later found the weapon and secretly kept it instead of handing it over. David already has very little trust in Jody, so learning that she has been hiding a gun could push him over the edge. Will this latest revelation finally convince him to throw Jody out for good? Coronation Street confirms fears for Cassie as explosive exit story takes a dark turn. Cassie Plummer's future hangs in the balance next week as she makes a dramatic exit from Coronation Street after a chilling confrontation with Ross Wilkes. Ross, Tyrone Dobbs' biological father, is determined to remove Cassie from his life for good. After successfully turning the family against her, his sinister plan takes an alarming turn, raising fears that Cassie's life could be in serious danger. Ever since Ross returned to Weatherfield, he has gradually convinced Tyrone to welcome him into the family. However, Cassie has never trusted him, remembering the disturbing past they shared when he paid for sex with her while she was still a vulnerable teenager. Although Cassie repeatedly tries to expose Ross's true nature, he continues putting on the act of a caring and devoted father, leaving Tyrone completely convinced by his performance. This week, Cassie's desperate attempt to bring Ross down ends in disaster. She secretly tries to sabotage his upcoming drug test by poisoning him, hoping it will cost him a job opportunity. Instead, Steve McDonald discovers what she has done and immediately ends their relationship. Devastated by losing Steve, Cassie turns to alcohol for comfort, while Ross enjoys the sympathy and support of everyone around him. The following week, Cassie wakes up on the Metcalf family's sofa after Tim reveals he brought her home when she became heavily intoxicated at the cab office. Feeling completely broken, she admits that Steve has left her, and Tyrone has thrown her out after choosing to believe Ross instead of her. Despite all her warnings, Ross has successfully fooled almost everyone, including Tracy, leaving Cassie with nobody willing to listen. Realizing she has nothing left to stay for in Weatherfield, Cassie announces that she has accepted a job aboard a cruise ship and plans to leave immediately. Tyrone refuses to change his mind, believing his mother has made one mistake too many. Instead of supporting Cassie, he decides to continue building a relationship with Ross. Before leaving, Cassie shares an emotional goodbye with her grandchildren. Fizz gives her a treasured family photograph as a keepsake, making the farewell even more heartbreaking. Cassie later arranges to meet Steve in the precinct, hoping they can part on better terms. However, the situation takes an unexpected turn when Ross suddenly arrives in his car. Surprised by his appearance, Cassie reluctantly accepts Ross's offer of a lift, believing it might be the perfect opportunity to confront him privately and force him to reveal his true character. The moment Cassie gets inside the vehicle, Ross locks the doors and speeds away just as Steve reaches the scene, leaving him unable to stop them. His inconsistent story immediately raises suspicion, and as the week unfolds, Fizz becomes increasingly convinced that Ross is hiding something important. With Ross acting more suspicious by the day and Cassie nowhere to be found, fears continue to grow over what may have happened after they drove away together.